Hello, welcome to Ambition Unleashed podcast. I am here filming at the gorgeous Alfred Residences in West Hollywood, literally just steps away from the iconic Melrose Place. And this property is listed by my good friend Medea Musavi over at the agency. So thank you so much for allowing us to use this space. Today, I am so excited to introduce you to one of my very best friends in the world, someone I admire so incredibly much, Elizabeth Porikos-Gorgees.
Wow, that introduction, I feel so honored.
You owned and sold the largest eyebrow threading company in the entire world. What was that journey
Yes,
like?
the journey is not over with, it's continuing, but yes, brows are, I have a passion for beauty and brows and makeup and all that sort of thing. I mean, I think it roots back to even when I was a child. I wanted to be an actress when I was little, and I'd get into my mom's makeup, and I love that sort of thing. And even when I was in graduate school, I got my master's in management. I was a makeup artist at Lancome at Nordstrom's, Trish McAvoy at Neiman Marcus. I worked for Estee Lauder, resident for MAC. So the entire time I was even in school, in graduate school, I was involved in the beauty world, and I was always kind of drawn to it. It excited me. I liked it. And then later on down the road, I ended up, getting an idea to open a brow business. And, it wasn't something that I had thought about, years ago. When I grew up, I want to open a brow business. It really kind of clunked me on the head because I was a consumer. I loved getting my eyebrows threaded, and I learned about it, years and years ago because a lady in our department, when I worked at Neiman's for Trish McAvoy, she worked for Chanel, and there was a girl in our department that was getting married. So all the girls were getting together. We were all invited to the wedding, and they were all getting their eyebrows threaded. And I just had never heard of it. And they're like, "Oh, you got to come with us. You'll love it." So they brought us down to this little area in Chicago where they have some eyebrow threading stores, shops, nothing glitzy at all, and I was a little skeptical, but they're like, "You have to do it. You'll love it." And as it turns out, they were absolutely right. I mean, when I threaded my eyebrows the first time, I just was like, Narcisse in the pond of water. I just couldn't get out of the mirror because my eyebrows looked so good. And I was hooked. I was back every 3 weeks to get my eyebrows done there. It was not close, but it was so worth it. And then I started to see some small carts open in malls in the Chicago area around me around 2006. And I just, I started to, go closer to my house, even though I didn't really like it as much as the one that was in the city, but it was out of convenience. And one day I was shopping at a mall called Woodfield Mall in the Chicago area. And, it's like the busiest, biggest mall over in this region. And I just noticed that they didn't have eyebrow threading. They didn't have a cart. And it really struck me as bizarre because I had seen it popped up everywhere. So, and the ones I had seen, I didn't really like them. They were kind of, they weren't really that clean. They weren't the image that I would want. And the light bulb went on my head, and I was like, you know what? I can do this better. I can design this better. So I called up, and I got actually into a different location first, but I had $4,000 to gamble on this idea. Nobody believed in it. My parents didn't at the time. My ex-husband didn't at the time. Nobody did. So I was like, I'm going to gamble my $4,000, put it down on 2 months rent, buy a couple chairs, buy some string, and let's roll the dice and see what comes out. And with that $4,000 on that first location, I actually grew it to 200 locations without ever getting a bank loan. So it was really the right idea at the right time. And once I started, I was just like running like Forrest Gump with it. I was, I wanted to grow, and I just took money from one location and I'd throw it into the next location, and it just grew organically. And I didn't plan that in the beginning. It wasn't like I was like, oh, I want to open up a location, I'll have 200 of them. I thought, gee, I hope this one location works out and I didn't lose my $4,000. But then it actually ended up growing into something farther and bigger than I could have ever imagined, so I was very blessed. And then I had to sell it. I went through a very strenuous divorce. I did get sell that, and then I had to kind of start all over again. And I created my new brand, Eyebrow, and that's my latest and greatest. And it's actually I would say an evolution of where my first idea was, whereas the first one was more just eyebrow threading and nothing else. And that'll always be the basis of the concept of Eyebrow. But now it's more of like, I want to think of it as like a brow and eye boutique. So, we do eyebrow threading, we do eyelash extensions, we do brow tinting, microblading, we do facials, waxing. I'm building my own line of makeup and skincare. And we do henna tattoos. So we do just kind of like a full boutique on eyes. And so, and it's something that it's never going out of style. In fact, even when the pandemic hit, it's like it became 50% more important because now that was the top of your face that was showing. So it really is something that, eyebrows, eyelashes, it's just something that I think as women, it just makes us feel good. And it just goes back to the old saying, if you look good, you feel good, you do good. And we're never going to be able to forget that. So with Eyebrow, that's really one of my missions is to make it where people, women know they can go, they can feel confident, and they can be excited about it for like, hey, every 2-3 weeks when they come in and they get their touch up, they leave there feeling great about themselves. And, that's something I have a passion for. I have a passion, I love it when people feel good. I love it when I feel good. And that's something, like I said, it's not a trend. It's not, something that technology will be able to replace. The art of what we do is something, it's never, ever going out of style.
I think that's so amazing that you took that brave leap with what you had saved up. You don't spend recklessly and crazy, and you're not some crazy gambler. I mean, what a calculated risk you took as a mother of 4 kids. And I'll never forget, you taught me something that just has always, you taught me many things, but one of the things you taught me was we were out at dinner and we got the bill and you were charged twice for your pop. And you're like, I'm so sorry, I have to address this with them. I'm going to let them know that they charged me twice. And afterwards, you told me if you never learn to watch your pennies, you will never learn how to watch your millions. And that quote that you told me has stuck with me my whole life. I think we've been friends for going on 10 years now, maybe,
Yes.
or more.
Yes.
And I've always remembered that quote, and that's something I'm so excited to pass on and teach my daughter, because I think it's such a powerful thing. And were you raised to be cautious with how you spend, or is that something you just learned?
Well, it's like this. It's, my parents, my mom was a concert pianist and my father owned a restaurant. We're Greek, so restaurant Greek, it goes together. So I kind of came from an entrepreneurial background, and it's always been, with entrepreneurs, it can be like feast or famine. It never seems to be like right there in the middle. It's either like really good times or they're really tough times. So it was, when I was growing up, it was either like, hey, we're going to Hawaii for 2 weeks for Christmas, or no Baker Square, times are tough type of thing. So I think it's one of those, and it's okay, because what I always think too, if somebody doesn't know the hard times, they're never going to truly appreciate the great times. And the flip side of that is that you're right. It doesn't matter if I have millions, I will check the bill to make sure it's correct, because that's right. It's not right to get double charged for me or for anybody else. And you have to respect the money, because if you don't respect the money, then it's not going to respect you back.
I think that's a big reason for your success. You have such tremendous drive and the success that I just admire so much as a business person, as a woman, as a mom. I mean, you've done it all, and you've done it all so what appears on the outside to look so seamlessly and so gracefully. Unfortunately, you had to sell your first company, and so you're starting from the ground zero, and you start
Mm-hmm.
Sass Brows, and you own several locations, and you're also franchising that. So what's
Yes.
what's what's that process like?
Well, right now we're at about 10 locations for Brow, which I know, can sound like a lot to some people. For me, it doesn't sound like a lot because, I had 200 built before, but that's okay. Because I know it's just, like I said, a journey. The journey's not over. The journey's never really over, I don't think, but, and I am looking to grow the franchise model. And I'm also looking to expand it corporately, but I really want to grow this franchise model much bigger than I did before, because I think that will free up my time to grow it in different areas, like internationally. That's someplace I really want to expand: South America, Europe, Asia, Australia, Africa. I mean, the globe. The nice thing, once again, coming back to my concept, is it's something that everybody needs, and it doesn't matter where you are on the planet. It's everybody wants to look nice, and all women want to have nice eyebrows and eyelashes. So
Yeah, I
um,
agree.
the concept really does work everywhere, and so that is one of my goals this time around, is to really grow it more internationally than I did last time.
That's amazing. What is a process like to franchise a business? I mean, that sounds like such an intimidating thing to say, that I want to franchise my business. What is that like? And how long does it take from start to finish? Let's say when you first had this idea to franchise Sass Brows, how long does it take to find someone, to market someone,
Um,
to get that person to purchase your franchise, and then to grow it?
Well, I mean, it's definitely not an easy process. For every like 100 potentials, like one works out. But first of all, and it really is a process. You have to get a lengthy federal document together of about 300 pages. You have to work with an attorney on it, and it's basically the whole spectrum of your business. You need to have a proven model, successful proven model that works. Then you have to create the about 300-page federal document on it. After that's completed, there's registrations in different states that are required. And then you need to, really market the franchise, and, through different maybe social media aspects, interview really good franchise brokers, and get a good network of people that can push your brand.
That's really amazing. I don't know how you do all this, because you also go and you physically see every location, and you did this in the past. And I
Right.
remember I'd be on the phone with you, or texting you, and I never knew where in the world you were at, but you were never just out somewhere for fun. It was always, oh, I'm, in this exotic place, but I'm interviewing someone that wants to franchise my company, and we're looking at real estate and finding the best location for them. And so
Mm-hmm.
how do you do all that?
It is important. Yeah, I mean, I was in Puerto Rico last week because I had to tour a mall for a potential franchisee. Real estate is also one of my passions. I really enjoy identifying a site that I think is going to be great and it's going to work. But yeah, no, it is a total juggle. As you know, I have 4 kids because, you know,
Yeah.
we've known each other long enough. We've dined together. You've seen them, in person. So, between, the kids and the business, it's nonstop. Uh,
Yeah, I don't know when you sleep. We have one baby. I can't imagine four and running uh, the company that you run with all these different moving parts. I think that's really admirable. I
Oh,
tell you this all the time. I'm just so impressed and I admire you so much. And I would love to be more like you. And I'm so excited
oh,
for the listeners to be able to just meet you, whether it's virtually or it's on just listening to you. I'm so excited for you just to be able to share your story and for them to be inspired by you as well.
yeah. Well,
You
thank
also
you.
wrote a
No, I
book, right? You
yes, yes, a short ebook, and that I wrote during the lockdown because I was working on a bigger book, and then when lockdown and all my stores closed, I just couldn't think, and so my publisher's like, I just want you to write a quick ebook for entrepreneurs in a business crisis. So it's called Never Cornered, and it's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. It's about a 30-page ebook, but it's for entrepreneurs in a business crisis. And I just try to give some insight and give some tips. It's really about problem solving, and it can get overwhelming. It can get overwhelming for us all. So it's like if sometimes just hearing something can, flick the light on for you.
That's incredible. So you're an author, you you're a business owner, you franchise your company. I mean, and now you're starting your own beauty line. You're so involved in everything and you do everything so incredibly well. And you're so humble. I'm so grateful that you took the time to be on the show. I know you have to get back to your babies.
Yeah, no, no.
But
Thank you so much for inviting me. This was fun. It's always great to see your beautiful face and yeah, and I hope to see you soon. Again, thank you. I feel very honored that you asked me.
Oh, of course. But before I forget, if someone wants to find you, how do they find Sass Browse?
Sassbrow's on Instagram, and we have a website, sassbrow.com. So please follow us on Instagram and like us on Facebook and check out our website as more locations will be added.
Okay, so you guys know where to
All
find
right.
her.
Thank you. All right. Bye, Marcella. Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.